Good morning, good. I am happy to speak on this here this evening as well, and I welcome the report. The report is much good to the struggling army personnel, and I'm looked awfully disappointed. I come from South Tipperary with a very proud record on the army in Clonmel, with a wonderful barracks there and a wonderful battalion there, and they served with dignity and they looked after the townspeople anytime there was floods or any other kinds of disasters. They were the first out to help, and your Fine Gael government robbed us of that. Phil Hogan moved it to Kilkenny, to Hillard O'Connor. Someone went to Limerick. So many of them left. We're in a situation now which is a totally untenable situation for the army. They're blindfolded and hands behind their backs. They have no capability in the Navy, very little capability in the Air Corps. While I welcome the Cabinet decision recently to reinstate the helicopter in the South East and the search and rescue, I'm disappointed that the Air Corps have no part in that, even on a supporting basis, because what are we doing? Are we going to stand them down completely? We're giving out to private, huge contracts, lucrative contracts to private companies. Our army could be used for that, to supplement and to complement that outcome, as I said. The women of honour. My goodness, how much more do they have to endure? Why can they not be listened to and dealt with sensibly? The last minister, Deputy Collins mentioned it, the former Minister Keogh, he didn't care about the army. The arrogance he showed towards in Clonmel and different places. And the personnel, we were so embarrassed. When my own village, army personnel who served in the Lebanon and served in other parts, dangerous parts of the world. And I salute all the defence forces who served in peacekeeping. We had an army personnel carrier. They were booked to come home to their families, and they had weddings and they had christenings and everything planned, and they were waiting over for 2 weeks in the heat in midsummer with no personnel to bring home our own soldiers. What are we at? They were out there serving our nation's flag proudly, and we abandoned them out to let them for 2 or 3 weeks before they could get home, past the time of they were supposed to be at home. Imagine the weight and the angst on the families during that time. It was just very degrading to do to them. So where do we go now? The report recommends a number of issues. They all involve large sums of money, but when we left it, it's like a car. If you keep it, it's totally capped out, you're going to get nothing for it. We should have been investing, and we all appreciate there were cuts back in 2009 and 10, but we have cut. I know too, and I salute former Minister Penrose, former Deputy of the Labour Party, who stood with honour and resigned his position to defend his own barracks and his own soldiers in the Midlands. And I salute him for that. Others, like our own people in Tipperary, just voted with the government, get rid of the barracks. It was a disaster for the town of Clonmel. It was better than any industry. But the dignity and the pride, and the women, the army women, because the army couldn't lobby, but the army wives, they lobbied so hard and literally begged the politicians, and the morale was so low with them as well, because they weren't listened to. They were literally crushed. As I said, we have proud records since going back, to the Congo, going back that into time, serving abroad, and recognised as an independent nation. Now we don't know what we are, whether we're independent, neutral, or what are we? We're not this and that. We have debates here about PESCO and many, many other things, and we're not really. To be honest with ourselves, put hand on heart and say we're neutral, we're not. We're there and we're being laughed at and being used, depending on aircraft from other countries to defend our waters and our airspace. We could see it after 9/11, and that was a temporary arrangement. The fact that we don't have those helicopters now, or don't have the jets to defend our country, what kind of pride have we in our nation that we will allow this go on? None, I would say, to your government. And you have been in government now for 10, 11 years, Minister, your party, and you care little about the army, but of course they wouldn't be mainly your voters. Paying conditions, atrocious. Going to supplementary welfare officers, begging for pittance. And the other big bugbear I have when dignitaries come, and I'm delighted to welcome, we just got news recently that Prince Charles will be visiting my constituency shortly, and he will be asked about Bloody Sunday and those issues, and they mustn't be swept under the carpet, but he's paying a visit which will be respected by the people of Tipperary, and he'll be welcome. But the army will be there, I'm sure, supporting the Garda Síochána. And the treatment that the army get, they're like third-class citizens. They don't get any of the stipends, they don't get proper place to sleep, they don't get proper food passes. It's despicable the way they're treated. They're treated like fourth, fifth-class citizens. We've seen that when President Trump came, different people came to different parts, when His Holiness the Pope came to Ireland. It's shocking. that we would treat our defenders of our nation, our flag, our sovereignty, and would treat them like that. The disrespect that we have for the army personnel is just shocking, and it has to change. That report is useless if we don't show them respect, we should show them the dignity they deserve, and have them able to serve with pride and with honour for the sake of their country, which they wanted to do, they signed up to do. And we have such a loss now, drain of the pilots and all the way to private industry. So, look, I'm pleading with you to show them respect and dignity and look after the women of honour also.
Thank you, Deputy McGrath.